You look at the upcoming free agents. It's not like they've got a ton of guys that you're going to say, oh, no, what are they going to do without that guy? But the receiver depth chart is going to be gutted, and some would say maybe it should be. Xavier Worthy will be back. He's entering year 2 of his career. Rashee Rice, if he's healthy, we've forgotten about him because he got injured all the way back in week 4. But if he's back and he's still got that off-field issue hovering over him, that could still be a complicating factor that results in a suspension. But no DeAndre Hopkins, no Juju Smith-Schuster, Justin Watson, Mecole Hardman. Mecole Hardman, the hero of last year, he just MIA this year. I'd be stunned if he's back. Kareem Hunt, Samaje Perine. They still have Isaiah Pacheco. They just need more out of the running game. You've got some offensive and defensive linemen. I mean, Charles Omenihu is the one, and Justin Reed. Those are the two names that would stand out to me the most. Nick Bolton also.
Nick Bolton.
So bigger concerns defensively than offensively. But if I'm Travis Kelce, I'm concerned about what our offense is going to look like next year because, I don't want to be the focal point because I don't want to turn into Willie Mays in the middle of the season and all of a sudden I just can't do it anymore and everybody sees I can't do it anymore. You'd like to ultimately have a Hollywood ending to your career, but you also don't want your final season to be a debacle.
And then there's a chance you stick around for maybe the lull part of whatever this Chiefs dynasty becomes. You know, like there was a stretch where these guys were up and coming. Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes. Like it was like they were taking the league by storm of Kareem Hunt. These guys you bring in, and then they're not babies anymore. They're not rookies. They're taking over. As we now look at that roster and you talk about, all right, this turned into like the last 2 years, 3 years. This has turned into a defensive team. You lose Nick Bolton, you lose Justin Reed, you just lost L'Jarius Sneed last year. You start to look and you're just like, well, the defense isn't quite the same. And I would say Tashawn Warhurt had a pretty big year and played a big role in what they did up front. Of now you're replacing a good amount of guys if you're not able to bring Nick Bolton back, which I think would be a huge get. And then Justin Reed isn't young anymore. So do you bring back the veteran safety or do you try to go younger? Like those are all decisions they have to make. And then you look at Trey Smith inside before Joe Thuney moved out to left tackle. Thuney, Creed Humphrey, and Trey Smith was kind of seen as, you know, one of the better interiors offensive line play in the whole NFL. But now Thuney moves to left tackle. Do you put Thuney back at guard? You already paid Creed Humphrey and you pay Trey Smith after watching that kind of assortment and how bad you are at tackle be really the reason where you had to move Thuney out and you couldn't protect Mahomes. So can you really afford to run it back by paying the 3 interior guys and not having a solution outside? So it just starts to become, to me, a little bit of what happened in New England as you had this first run and you have this great quarterback of how do you now rebuild and retool with the quarterback in mind of, okay, what exactly do we need to have here? We might not need to build our team the way other teams build their team, but because we have Patrick Mahomes, how do we build up a winning team and move forward? You drafted Trent McDuffie, which was a huge draft pick of what he was able to become. How do we now bring in those same kind of guys? How do we keep a guy like Nick Bolton in our locker room because we brought him in here and he's done exactly what we wanted him to do? Those are the hard decisions now you have to make as a franchise, and plus bring in the right guys in free agency and draft more of the next wave of guys that, to me, will really determine what we see. But there's no clear answer. Like you just said it, there's not many free agents on that list you want to bring back, but you've also established a culture. And the culture of what you have of having Mahomes and Kelce, which I've heard from a lot of people, lead off practice of demanding a lot out of guys when they practice, making sure guys are out there every single day. I heard they had guys out there who had real injuries who would sit out some days, and Kelce and Mahomes would be kind of making fun of them in like a free, easygoing spirit, but creating this culture of, hey, we want to be out here practicing. We want to be the best prepared team of like if Kelsey steps away and now you only have Mahomes, like is Chris Jones the guy that steps up into that role? Like who are the guys that continue to bring that culture every single day as you bring new guys in? Those are some of the harder things you have to do to continue to have a dynasty and continue to be one of the top teams year in and year out.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.